Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a huge concept that's right at the heart of the Christian faith, but honestly is really misunderstood. We're talking about spiritual authority.
God and Us presents Proclamation to the Nation.
So a lot of ancient texts, the Bible included, talk about this idea of a spiritual battle. And when they use the word enemies, it's not just a metaphor. The original Greek word is echthros, and it means someone who is actively hostile towards you. Okay, so if these spiritual enemies are a real thing, it brings up a massive question, doesn't it? Where in the world does the authority to actually face them come from? The answer, it turns out, is wrapped up in an ancient promise and a riddle that stumps some of the smartest people of the day.
This verse right here, this is what sets the stage. It's this incredible promise of total victory. But what's so wild is how Jesus himself grabs this exact verse and turns it into a question that unlocks the entire secret to his authority.
All right, let's dive into this riddle from the book of Mark. Seriously, solving this thing is the absolute key to understanding where all spiritual authority really comes from.
So this was the question Jesus posed to the religious experts. It's such a brilliant paradox. You see, in their culture, the ancestor is always greater than a descendant. No question. So how could King David, supposedly speaking by the Holy Spirit, call his own future son my Lord? It just didn't make sense.
And the solution to this whole riddle is found in Jesus' dual nature. As the son of David, he's fully human, right? He has the physical bloodline, the legal claim to the throne here on earth. But he's also the Lord of David. That's his divine side. He's the eternal spirit with a claim in the heavenly realm. He's both.
And what that means is his authority isn't just some abstract idea, it's totally legitimate. It's built on a rock-solid foundation. His humanity gives him the right to act on earth, and his divinity gives him the power to win. This is the bedrock for all the authority he would later pass on to his followers.
So now that we've got that foundation set, we can see how this authority gets directly handed over. And this is where it stops being just theology and starts getting incredibly personal and practical for you and me. You have to pay attention to the language Jesus uses here. He says, I have given you authority. Notice that. It's past tense. It's a done deal. And look at what he gives authority over. All the power of the enemy. Not some of it. Not most of it. All of it. It is an absolute, complete transfer of power.
And this, of course, is the next logical question, isn't it? If this unbelievable authority has been handed to us, why does it feel like it's not working all the time? Well, it seems that having authority and knowing how to use it with wisdom are two very, very different things.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. There's a huge difference between arrogance and real authority. Arrogance is like going out and poking a snake with a stick just to prove you're tough. It's a spiritual baby walking straight into a minefield. But true authority, that's what we see with the Apostle Paul on the island of Malta. He wasn't looking for a snake to fight. He was busy serving other people, gathering wood when a viper bit him. And what did he do? He just shook it off, and he was fine. He was protected while on his mission.
Which brings us to our responsibility. See, having this authority means we're actually expected to do something with it. Jesus explained this whole idea in a powerful story, a parable, about a nobleman and his money. But there's a shocking hidden meaning in it that often gets lost in translation.
So in this story, this servant gets a mina, which is basically a chunk of money. Think of it as the grace or the gifts we receive. But what does he do with it? Out of fear, he does nothing. He wraps it up and hides it. And the thing is, he gets condemned not for losing the money, but for his inaction, for being too scared to invest.
And right here, this is the question from the master that unlocks the whole story. He asks, why didn't you at least put my money in the bank to collect some interest? But those two words, bank and interest, the original Greek words Jesus used reveal something completely different and frankly mind-blowing.
So the Greek word here for bank is trapeza. Literally, it doesn't mean a financial building. It just means a table. And in a theological context, what table do you think he's talking about? The communion table, the place of fellowship, the shared life of the community, the church. And then there's the word for interest, which is Tokos, and its literal meaning, a birth or offspring. The return on investment he was looking for wasn't money, it was spiritual fruit. It was new life, salvation, and growth that happens when you invest your gift in the community. So when you put it all together, the real meaning is suddenly crystal clear. The mina you've been given is the grace in your life. The bank, the Trapeza, is the community of faith. Investing it means you get involved, you participate in fellowship. And the interest, the Tokos, is all the new spiritual life and growth that comes from it. Hiding your gift is just letting it die on the vine.
But the parable doesn't stop there. There's one final, really harsh judgment, and it's for a totally different group of people. And this is what brings the lesson right into our own hearts.
The nobleman in the story says to bring him his enemies, the people who rejected his right to rule and deal with them. And here's the twist. The source material points out that these enemies aren't some external spooky forces. No, they're the parts of our own soul, the parts of our own lives that say, I don't want Christ to be in charge here.
And this reveals the final stunning paradox of authority. When you try to save your life, to cling to control, to be the hero of your own story, you end up losing everything, just like the servant who hid his mina. But when you're willing to lose your life, to surrender control, to let Christ reign, that's how you truly find it.
So, if we put it all together, there's a really clear path to walk. It starts with consciousness. You have to know the source of your authority. Then it moves to wisdom, using that authority maturely to serve people. And it all lands on responsibility, investing what you've been given so you can see it multiply.
So that leaves us with this final, challenging thought. We started out looking for authority to face our spiritual enemies. But maybe, just maybe, the greatest enemy we actually have to face, the one we first need to let Christ reign over, is our own deep-down desire to be the king of our own lives.